ahead to start admitting students. All right, good afternoon, everyone on the call. Please confirm you can hear me. You can drop an emoji on the chat box. You can say hi. You can just react if you can hear me. All right, thank you so much, Ifolua. Thank you so much. Thank you, every other person, for joining this call. My name is Chiamaka, and I work with Docenti Global Business School.
Yeah. You got it
So
right.
I would
But
like
two things I need to correct. First of all, how you stop up?
Sorry for the interruption. I would like to welcome you all to today's Business Leadership Excellence Program. And of course, today we'll be having our special guest, Mr. Oluwapelumi Akinola. He will be speaking to us today. And of course, we also have Miss Juliet. She'll be the one that will be moderating today's session. But before we start, I would like to take ground rules. Of course, I believe some of us will be used to the rules and some of us are not used to the rules. So firstly, I would like to announce that we would encourage everyone to remain muted on the call. You could notice that someone that logged in interrupted the session. So we wouldn't want interruption at the course of this session. Try as much as possible to remain mute. If you have any question, you can make use of the comment section or you can raise your hand. I believe Juliet is very active and she'll be looking out for your comments and your raising of hands as well. Secondly, this session is being live streamed. So please, let's try as much as possible to remain in a professional background. If you want to put on your camera, please try to maintain a professional background. You wouldn't want to see yourself in any of our socials staying in a not so good background. And of course, try as much as possible to fill out the attendance survey. We'll be sharing the attendance survey before the end of this session. So look out for it on the comment section and do well to fill it out, because from there you'll be getting the recording and the slides of this session as well. And of course, just to briefly advise you, I believe Mr. Pelumi is prepared for us today. And of course, today's topic is on strategic people's leadership, inspiring purpose and driving workforce transformation. And I believe he has a lot in stock for us. So just get your pen and your paper and do well to jot down a lot of knowledge that will be passed out during this session. And once again, thank you so much for joining. I will be handing over now to Juliet. Juliet, hope you are prepared for us. You can actually take over. Thank you so much.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I sent something to you. Please, can you check quickly, then get back to me? But let me just continue for then. Welcome once again to this session. Just like Valerie has said, Chiamaka said, this is going to be an amazing session. And I hope that at the end of this session, you're going to take out something useful as it relates to your career and what you're doing in maybe your business or your different facets of life, right? I'm going to be introducing quickly our speaker for today, and so we can dive into what we are doing. So let me introduce him quickly. Mr. Oluwapelumi Akinola is a licensed, certified, and award-winning human resource professional renowned for driving organizational effectiveness and efficiency through strategic talent management, employee engagement, and compliance excellence, with a solid blend of professional expertise, leadership acumen, and passion for people development. It continues to make impactful contributions to the HR landscape in Nigeria. And just as our topic for today is, which is understanding strategic leadership, it is important that we bring somebody that understands how leadership works in the corporate world. And that's why it's it was important that we brought Mr. Pelumi. So if your hands are not too busy, please, I would love to see your chats, your responses in the chat box, so I know you're following, right? So if your hands are not too busy with the clapping emoji or fire emoji, please let's welcome Mr. Pelumi as he speaks to us this afternoon. Thank you, thank you, Antonia. Thank you, Matthias. Thank you, Mr. Kenny, Mr. Titus. Thank you so much. I love that we are very active. So over to you, Mr. Pelumi. I don't know if you can hear me. Thank you, Yetunde.
All right.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction, Juliet. That was great. That was very, very good and brief. Please confirm you can hear me very well and you can see my face. Juliet, can you hear me very well? Is it good?
Yes,
I can hear you, sir, and I can see you as well.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone. It's a huge privilege to be here. And I want to say thank you to the management and the faculty member of the Genty Global Business School. So today we are going to dive in straight to our topic of discussion. But before then, I would like everyone to just quickly introduce themselves in the chat box. All right. So just say hi and how your day is going in one word. All right. If your day has been hectic, just say hi, hectic. If it has been going well, if you're in traffic, please also let us know just in case you are in motion. All right, let's make that happen. Everybody in the chats. All right. How are we doing today? How are we doing today? Olabisi is saying great, fantastic. Juliet's day is going very well. Awesome. Yes, we need more just to make sure that everyone is on the call and we are all together. Hectic, fantastic. I love that sincerity. It looks like this year has been very, very stressful and hectic for most of us, especially for those of us who are even HR. It's been a lot of work. Let's see. Ifeoluwa is saying fantabulous. I like that. That's good. Oye Tunde, the day is going smooth. And Matthias is in a groovy mood. Awesome. 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 So let me go ahead to share my screen. Please, if you have not dropped your update on the group, please do that. Do that. Let's make sure that everybody is doing well. Hannah is awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Yes, we have over 24 persons on the call. So I'm still expecting more responses from us. All right. Juliet, can you confirm that my presentation is on?
Yes, sir. I can see it.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Amazing. All right. So today we are going to zero in on inspiring purpose and driving workforce transformation with strategic people leadership in view. All right. So we are going to be talking about leadership. We are going to be talking about strategy, and we're also going to be talking about, workforce transformation. And of course, I'll be sharing some real life experiences, of course, from my experience working and also serving. I currently serve as the chairman for CIPM Lekki Ajah Baduri chapter, and also as an HR professional with years of experience, currently working at Networks Portfolio and Asset Management. I'll also be sharing some experiences with us. So whether you are an HR inclined person, whether you are a leader in your space, I believe strongly that this session is for you. All right. And as the session goes on, please and please do well to drop your questions in the chat box, or you can also reserve your question after my presentation. We will now take your questions. All right. But I would love for everybody on the call to be engaging. Okay. I want you to be engaging. I'm going to also be asking questions along the line, and I will also look forward to your response. All right. So, as we begin, I would like to set the context for our discussion this afternoon. All right. And the context of my presentation this afternoon is going to be around the new world of work. All right. What is happening in the world of work today? What is shaping the workplace? Because we can't talk about strategy, we can't talk about strategic leadership without knowing, what is going on in our time and in our world as touching work. So this is the first place we are going to take up our presentation today, that today's workplace is shaped by quite a number of factors. But because of time, I'm going to limit those factors to four major factors. Four major factors. And it is as a result of this influence, the influence of these factors, that we are now going to talk about strategic leadership. All right? Because I believe strongly that these factors are what now make strategic leadership a necessity today. The first point is that rapid technology and disruption is shaping today's world of work. Rapid technological disruptions. So we are talking about AI, we are talking about digital platforms, we are talking about artificial intelligence and how they affect what we do in the workplace. All right. I'm sure everybody on the call must have heard of AI, right? I mean, on Instagram, on X, on LinkedIn, you are seeing the use or the uses of AI. Number two is the shifting workforce demographics and the expectations. All right. So in today's world of work, we see that we see the influx of Gen Zs, the Generation X, or the Generation Z rather, and we also see majority being millennials. And we see that what keeps these generations of people in the workplace is radically different from what keeps the baby boomers, the older generation. It's different. It's different. And these people have expectations. I mean, in today's workplace, you can see Gen Z in quote, who maybe receives a direction or an instruction from the supervisor, instructed to do a few things. And maybe the Gen Z just said, no, this is not part of my job description. This is not the reason why you hired me. This is not what was indicated on my letter. And before you know, a day after, the Gen Z is tendering a letter of resignation. So we see that the workforce dynamics and expectation in our time and age is radically different from what is obtainable some few years ago. And again, we see hybrid and remote work becoming the norm. I mean, in many interviews now, many job posting, if you don't add that it's hybrid or it's remote, many people don't want to apply for those jobs. You interview a candidate and you ask the candidate, okay, do you have any question? Many times the first question they are going to ask you is, I hope this job is hybrid. So we see that hybrid work, remote work has now become the norm. It has now become an expectation in the new world of work. And strategic leadership must be provided so that we know how to manage it very well. And number four is increased competition for skilled talent. Increased competition for skilled talent. As an HR, I can tell you for free that Many people in the past 3, 4, 5 years have changed job at least once. There's increased competition. Whether you are in the banking sector, I mean, even if you are working, for example, for a tier 2 bank, you want to move to a tier 1 bank. Whether you are working for a microfinance bank, you want to move to another bank. That is mainstream bank, contemporary bank, and so on and so forth. So we see that these 4 factors, rapid technological disruption, a shift in workforce demographics and expectation, remote work, and increased competition for skilled talent are now shaping the new world of work, such that they now demand our attention on how we do certain things. All right. And the implication of this is that the leadership models of the past are no longer sufficient to cater for the needs of the present. And that's why leadership must be strategic. Leadership must be able to recognize the presence and say, okay, based on current trends, based on current practices, what do we need to adjust? What do we need to modify? What do we need to stop completely? And what do we need to start doing? And as HR professionals, as managers, as business owners on the call, we must gain insights from this discussion so that we are able to make the necessary changes and adjustments so that we are able to thrive in our current environment, in our time, and in our age. All right. So why are we talking about strategic people leadership? Why are we talking about this? Why does it matter? Okay. Why do we need to have this as a focus point for discussion? The truth is that strategy fails without the right people and culture. You know, of course, as at last month, January, we see a lot of organizations, taking their managers, taking their management team for leadership retreat, for strategy retreat, and spending a lot of money, millions of naira, trying to understand what should be done better, understanding business model, adjusting strategy. And the focus seemed to be entirely on strategy. But let me tell you, strategy will fail without the right people and culture to execute that strategy. Okay? So strategies still need humans. Strategies still need employees, whether low level, middle level, or management team, to put the strategy into motion. And of course, people will only stay in a place where there is good, conducive culture. Okay? And that's why we are talking about what we are talking about today. Number 2, why strategic people leadership matters is that number 2, talent is now a key source of competitive advantage. All right? Everybody wants to have the best guys, the best team, the best people working with them. All right? And that's why you see that, a top executive person would leave, for instance, maybe chief technology officer from EcoBank would leave and come to maybe First Bank, for instance. Another one from Polaris Bank will be poached and brought to EcoBank. Everybody wants the right people on their team. Why? We are now recognize that talent is a key source of competitive advantage. So if you want to scale as a business, you want to expand, you want to grow, you must have the right talent to give you that competitive advantage for your desired growth. And number 3 is employees. Employees want meaning. Employees want growth. They want flexibility. And this makes it very, very important for strategic people leadership. All right? People don't just want to work. People don't just want to earn income. People don't just want to resume in the morning by 8, close by 4 p.m. No, they want meaning. They want satisfaction. They want fulfillment. Okay? People want growth. People want flexibility. People want flexibility, especially in this part of the world, especially in Lagos, where there seem to be a lot of traffic, a lot of issues with transportation, and a whole lot. People want flexibility. And strategic people leadership must be there to cater for these needs. They must be present to cater for these needs. All right. And number 4, leadership credibility directly impacts trust and performance. So we are saying that employees will deliver more, will perform at the highest level possible when there is supply of leadership credibility. All right? People will believe in management when management says and do, when they give their word and they also do their words. Okay? So leadership credibility directly impacts on trust. And trust me, there is no strategic people leadership without trust. Your employees, your stakeholders, internal stakeholders in the organization must have trust in your leadership for you to thrive as a strategic leader. So the bottom line of what we are saying is that how leaders think about people determines organizational success. How leaders think about people, think about employees, think about, talent, think about the workforce, determines organizational success to a large extent. It's very, very important. So leadership must not just see employees or the workforce as just these are just folks that can be displaced at any time. They can be hired, they can be fired at any time when they do wrong or things like that. No, they must see them as success partners. Strategic leaders see people, see their workforce as success partners. In other words, we are in this together to achieve something, and we as leaders cannot achieve it alone. We need you as employees, we need you as a team to partner with us to achieve this success. Okay, so that is the bottom line of what we are saying. Now, it's also very important for us to distinguish between traditional management and strategic people leadership. All right, strategic management and traditional management. All right, I would like somebody to just, tell us, what do you understand by traditional management? Maybe you've experienced it before, or maybe you're even currently experiencing it and you want to share your experience with us. Anyone? You can put it in the chat box, or Juliet, if there's anybody raising their hands, you can please call on them to tell us. What do you understand by traditional management? And what do you understand by strategic management? Anybody? Juliet, is anybody raising up their hand? Anybody raising up hands?
Guys, let's speak. This is an interactive session, so there's no wrong or right answer. So yeah.
Definitely. So please feel free to make your contribution. Anybody? Wow. So we are all saying that we've not heard of traditional management before. That's what we are all saying. Are we all agreeing on the call that we've not heard of traditional management?
Well, yes, I think I've heard it.
Okay. Gideon, please go ahead.
Traditional management is just, from my own understanding and what I've been able to gather, is just a conventional approach to managing organizations. And it's being characterized through the little thing I understand, clear lines of authority, focus on efficiency and productivity. That is traditional management, just a conventional way of approach to managing organizations. And then the characteristics of this focus on efficiency and productivity, and clear lines of authority.
All right, thank you. Any other person? Strategic people leadership.
Sorry, Mr. Pelumi, before you continue, please, when we want to speak, let's try and raise up our hand or like indicate that you want to speak. And before you share your thoughts, you can tell us your name, like maybe your first name, so we know who is speaking, right? Yeah.
I think he mentioned my name. Well, he mentioned my name. That was
no,
why
I'm just saying for you personally, for whoever is speaking, just tell us your name. Because not everybody might know who is speaking at the moment.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Any other person? Strategic people leadership. Any other person raising up their hand? Juliet. Anybody?
Yes, sir, we have 3 persons.
All right.
Olabisi, you can go.
Good afternoon. My name is Olabisi. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
All right. My name is Olabisi. Strategic management, it's a rigid management. They're like using command tone. That's my own opinion. They are rigid. They're not flexible at all. They want just use command, just go, just do it on their own way. So they didn't give room for motivation. They didn't give room for you to use your initiative. They haven't just get that thing done. So the way they want it to just done. They don't want you to use your initiative. This management, I know. Thank you.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic. I love your viewpoints. Thank you, thank you. All right, next person, traditional management.
We have John. John, please go next.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is John. So in my little understanding, I think traditional is just the way management have been from time memorial. I mean, using people to get results, people management, focus largely on results, just efficiency, effectiveness of the whole organization and people management. Why strategic management is looking at the long term, like is vision oriented, seeing things on a bigger scale, looking at the bigger picture and all of that. Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, John. Vision driven, looking at the big picture and the long term. Awesome, awesome. Yes, who is the remaining person? Juliet.
Next, Anna.
Okay, hi, and good afternoon. My name is Hannah. So, in my understanding, traditional management is about maintaining the status quo. That's ensuring that the range of doing things, they actually they focus on the short-term goals and daily operations. They do not allow employees to make decisions, take decisions on their own. There's kind of a micromanagement style of work in the organization. They don't allow the employees to actually be creative or innovative in their work. Whereas strategic management actually focuses on vision, the long-term visions and goals of the organization, and it kind of allows collaborations among teams, among staff. And whenever they're taking decisions, they just don't throw decisions in through words to management. They allow for collaboration, they catch up decisions. Okay, what's your opinion? What do you think about this? And they bring about a lot of adaptability and innovative and growth. It gives room for opportunities. That's about strategic. They're more focused on achieving a vision for the organization and making plans that will involve everybody and not just some certain people that sit over a corner and taking decisions for everybody.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. I like the contribution. Thank you. All right. Juliet, is any other person still raising up their hand who have not spoken? Do we have anyone still
No,
making
that's
contribution?
all.
That's all.
That's all.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for those of us who have contributed. Hannah, John, thank you for that amazing contribution. So, yes, we've touched it in bits, and I really appreciate those contributions. So, when we talk about traditional management, we are saying, okay, this was what was obtainable. This is the leadership style that was obtainable in the older times. All right, years back, this was how things were done. Okay, but now we are talking about strategic people leadership. We want to see how should things be done now. All right, so some 6-7 years ago, we had COVID, for instance, and COVID impacted the world and the world of work. In fact, it impacted it in this part of the world forever. Up until COVID time, many persons do not even know what it means to work remotely. I mean, everybody go to work every day, literally, right? But COVID came and people started working remotely, working on Teams, using Zoom, and it changed the world of work forever. So it now means that how leadership views communication and work delivery before COVID should have changed now that COVID has happened and it has left long-lasting impact on how work is being done. So now an employee can be at the comfort of their house, get their job done, can even be by the side of the beach, can even be at the restaurant, working on his laptop, sipping a cup of is it ice cream now or parfait, and delivering on the job. Right? So we must shift our focus a bit. All right? So when we talk about traditional management, we are saying that this is a management system that focuses on tasks, hierarchy, compliance. This is how it has always been done. This is how it must be done. But one thing with this is that, it stifles ideas, innovation. All right? It doesn't give room for growth for individual ideas, especially with this younger generation of professionals that are getting into the labor market. I mean, they want to try things new. They want to see things done differently. I can tell you for free that digital marketing of today is not digital marketing of 5 years ago. Right? Now, employees are even used in commercial videos. Organizations shoot videos with their staff, do jokes, do comedies, infuse it into marketing and post it on IG, and people are engaging. Wow, I love to work here. Wow, I love to do business with you guys. Oh, I love this. I love that. Look at what happened last year during Customer Service Week. That's like first week of October to second week of October last year. There were a lot of amazing contents from different parts of the world, different organizations, right? In fact, I can tell you a particular organization, Meristem. Meristem have an IG page for just their employees. They shoot videos, upload pictures celebrating their employees. They have a specific page for just their employees. I think they call it People of Meristem or Meristem People or something like that, right? So things are now being done differently. Okay, so the focus for traditional management is on tasks. This is what must be done. This is how it must be done. But people management is now looking at it from the standpoint of purpose, capability, and outcomes. Traditional management is saying, on the other hand, that people must be seen as resources to be managed, but strategic people leadership is saying that people are now seen as value creators. They are not just resources to be managed. And that's why many times in today's world of work, we see organizations, for instance, whose MD and CEOs only come to the office physically, sometimes once in a month, sometimes few times in a year. Why? They know that everybody's doing what is expected of them. Everybody is seen as a value creator. Everybody is seen as doing their job, whether or not they are physically in the organization, in the workspace. All right. So traditional management again is saying that, oh, we must have a reactive approach to change. A reactive approach to change. In other words, things must happen before we respond. Certain things must come to place before we put certain things in place. 2023 was literally the height of JAPA 2023-2024. Was the height. I mean, I'm talking about banks, bankers, bank executive, a lot of people leaving their jobs here in Nigeria, relocating to Canada, to the US, to the UK. And that was when people started, organizations started coming up with the idea of employment bonds. So that if you want to work in an organization, you must sign a bond of, let's say, 1 year, you must work with us for 1 year, you must work with us for 2 years. Even with employment bonds, people that will leave, will leave. This generation, they will sign bond after 6 months, they'll pay you off and say, I've got a better offer, I'm leaving. So traditional management is saying we must have a reactive approach to change. Or strategic people leadership is saying that let's have a proactive approach to change. We don't want to wait till people exit before we have certain candidates in the pipeline, certain CVs in our database. We have certain measures in place. We have a succession plan such that if this key employee is to resign today, there is a succession plan in place that we have someone in line for that position such that our work will not stop, operation will not go down, productivity will not be affected. That's what it means to have a productive approach to management. Okay? All right, let's move on quickly because of our time. Now, what is strategic people leadership? From what I have said, from what I have explained, what is strategic people leadership? It is simply the deliberate alignment of 4 or 3 variables rather. It is the deliberate alignment of 3 variables. Okay, number 1 is people, number 2 is culture, and number 3 is strategy. So the moment there is a deliberate alignment, in other words, these 3 variables are in harmony, then we can say that strategic people leadership is in place. And when we talk about people, we're talking about skills, all right? Behavioral competencies, technical competencies and skills, motivation, potential. When we talk about culture, we are talking about the organizational values, the behaviors, the unwritten norms, the unwritten rules that guide our organizations. When we talk about strategy, we are talking about the business goal, the business direction. Where are we heading? Where are we going? The moment these 3 factors align, then we can say that we are strategic when it comes to people management or people leadership. All right? So these 3 variables ensures that people decisions actively drive business results. No matter the strategy in place, no matter the strategy retreats, no matter how much is being spent on it, no matter the budget for strategy retreat, it would not make so much impact if there are no people, competent people, to deliver this strategy and convert it into execution. That's what we are saying. So the central role of purpose in all we are saying is that purpose provides direction in times of uncertainty. Organizational purpose. You know that this is what your organization is set out to achieve. Okay? And it provides direction in times of uncertainty. And that was why many organizations did not close down even during COVID. Many organizations did not in such a time of uncertainty. Why? They were already prepared for such an uncertain moment. All right? Purpose also provides meaning beyond financial results. Remember, I told you the employees of today are looking for meaning. They're not just looking for a good paycheck. Does it not amaze you that we have people who resign from seemingly high-paying jobs and resume in a low-paying job just because they find more meaning, more fulfillment, more satisfaction, more work-life balance in those places? So it's not just about the money. Nobody wants to earn in millions in dollars, and at the end of the month, they will spend all of those money in the hospital on medicals. Nobody wants to do that. All right. So it goes beyond financial results. And lastly, purpose provides a unifying force across teams and roles. Unifying force, such that compliance is working with finance, finance teams are working with HR, HR is working with internal audit. Everybody is in sync. Why? We know that we are all working towards the attainment of one goal. That is the purpose of organizational purpose. That is the purpose. So organizations with clear purpose will experience a higher engagement and loyalty. Yes, they will. They will. Because everybody feels like this is home. And truly, workplace should be like home. Why? Many times we spend more time with our colleagues at the office than we spend with our immediate family. Many times we do, because even when you get home, all you want to just do is just to eat and sleep. Whereas you spend 8-10 hours with your colleagues at the office. So people are looking for meaning. And when organizations are able to define their purpose, they experience higher engagement. And that's why employees will go beyond and above to even create content to sell the product of the organization, to sell the services of the organization. Why? Because they feel carried along in the purpose of the organization. All right. Again, organizations with a clear purpose will build stronger employer brands. Again, let me tell you, for those of us who are employers of labor on the call, for those of us who are HR on the call, people are not just working for organizations these days. They want to work for brands, recognizable brands. Recognizable brands. And let me tell you the truth, people will leave you even if you are paying very well, just because they have a good organization with a good brand. Because, I mean, having a multinational in your CV speaks volume, right? Everybody wants to be recognized with such a brand. Everybody wants to be recognized, for instance, with, give me some global brands. Let's say maybe PwC, Deloitte, Shell, for instance. All right, Chevron. These are great brands. Okay, so organizations with a clear purpose will build stronger employer brands. And what drives employer brands is actually the employees. Why? The employees are constantly telling the stories of the employer online. They are telling their story on LinkedIn. They are telling their story on X. They are telling their story on IG. And all of these things are building employer brands. Let me give you an instance. In December, some organizations gave rice. Sorry about the background noise. Some organizations gave rice and oil. True? Let me even ask in the chat. Please put in the chat if you received rice during December. Please drop rice in the chat box quickly. Let me know those who are still angry with HR and say, HR, I still have you in my mind. You received package during December period. Can you put it, just in all sincerity, represent your employer very well? Just drop it in the chat box. Anybody? Anybody? Let me see. Wow, nobody on this call received rice. Amazing. HR is in trouble. Rice, ground oil, fantastic. Oh, Chiamaka, awesome. Rice. No, that's lovely. Just 2 people on the call. Wow. That's not even up to 5% of those of us on the call. Somebody is saying, HR, I have you in mind. Please forgive HR. On behalf of HR, please, I'm pleading. Ashiba is saying rice, fantastic. So let's take this scenario, for instance. Employers, give these packages during December, and certain employees actually post it online, post it on their WhatsApp status, some on X, right? Imagine an organization that gives, let's say, 50 bags of rice with maybe 20 liters of oil. And you put a good note, a good caption online saying that, oh, my organization does this every year, for instance, right? I'm telling you the truth. Even people who don't engage your post will view your profile and want to know where you work, so that when your employer is employing or recruiting, all right, they would want to apply. All of this still goes into employer brands. All of this goes into employer brands. So when we talk about employer brands, it is actually employees that build this. So what the role of strategic leaders is to make sure that there is a conducive environment, there is a conducive atmosphere for employees to thrive and now tell the story of the employers to other people. That's it. That's it. All right. So organizations with a clear purpose will experience higher engagement, higher loyalty, sustainable long-term performance, and also build stronger brands, All right, let's move on quickly. So from organizational purpose to individual meaning. So I mentioned that employees are actually looking for meaning. They are looking for meaningful job, meaningful roles, meaningful pay. Now, leaders must bridge the gap between corporate vision, team objectives, and individual roles. Yes, there is a corporate vision, but each team, each unit, each department must know their objectives. And from that team objective, each individual, each employee, each team member must draw out what is my role, what is my contributory role in the attainment of these objectives. Many of us now, if I'm to mention a particular brand, will recognize that brand, which is MoneyPoint, right? Virtually all of us have used the MoneyPoint POS to withdraw. But some 4 years ago, nobody knew MoneyPoint. In fact, as at then, they were known as Team Apt. And many of us did not know them then. I knew them then because I had a few friends who were working there. They were known as Team Apt. Guess what? MoneyPoint was not actually their name. MoneyPoint was just a product. MoneyPoint just became more recognized and was thriving, was making waves in the market, and the management said, you know what, we are renaming. Nothing like Team Apt again. We are moving to MoneyPoint. MoneyPoint was just one of their products. It was launched, it received massive national recognition, and they say, you know what, we're making this transition. And now everybody wants to work there as software developers, as HR. I mean, I'm saying as far back as 3-4 years, I had a colleague who left my previous employer and was working fully remote with them. She was living in Bauchi and was working fully remote with them with the headquarters here in Lagos. I'm telling you that house rents in Bauchi as at then, maybe self-contained should be around, no, a 2-bedroom flat, maybe around 250,000 naira or 300,000 naira in Bauchi. I mean, who won't want to work in such a situation, right? So what we are saying is that there must be a bridge between corporate vision, and every team member must now draw out their roles and responsibility from the team objective. What do I bring to the table? It must be clear. It must be clear. Employees perform best when they understand why their work matters and how they contribute to something bigger. They must understand what makes them stand out. How leaders inspire purpose daily. Number one is to communicate the vision consistently and clearly. At every town hall meeting, at every strategic meeting, at every leadership retreat, at every corporate dinner, at every award night, you must reiterate the corporate vision. This is what we are set out to do, and we couldn't have even achieved up to this amount without you guys being our employees. You must demonstrate value through actions. You must make decisions that align with stated principles. Not that management comes out from nowhere and tells HR, this person came late to work this morning. Fire her, fire him. Is that in alignment with our stated principles and procedures and our policies? This is how we provide strategic leadership. Yes, your emotions may be offended that why are you just coming to the office by 10 a.m.? But we must still act in line with stated principles and policies. Next is for us to recognize behaviors that reflect the value and the purpose that we are talking about and reward them. If you see team members, employees who are going beyond and above to make sure that they get the job done, that they deliver exceptional deliverables, recognize them, celebrate them. Give long service award. You see employees who have stayed in your organization for the past 10 years, 15 years. Recognize such behaviors. Recognize them. All right? Very, very important. All right, as we begin to wrap up, leadership role in transformation. Strategic people leaders anticipate future talent needs. You don't wait till people begin to resign before you start having place certain backup, certain plan B. No, you anticipate future needs. All right, you anticipate future needs. Prepare employees for change, not shock them with it. This is how to be a strategic people leader. Let's say, for instance, in your organization as an employer, let's assume that you've been working maybe hybrid, 2 days from home, 3 days on site, and you want everybody to come back to the office, assuming some employees or team members are already abusing remote work. You don't just say, guys, everybody, we're resuming back to the office first thing on Monday. No, you are not preparing your employees for change. You are shocking them with it. So for something like that, possibly at the beginning of the year when there is a town hall meeting, you have a meeting with everybody, all your employees, and you say, okay, effective from 1st of March, we are going to now be resuming fully on site. We are giving this 2-3 month notice to prepare everybody. All right, for everybody to make certain changes, for everybody to make certain adjustments, all right, to begin to prepare to resume back to the office. That is strategic leadership. That doesn't mean that as the business owner, you don't have the right to do that. You absolutely have the right. You can dictate that. But you would not be strategic in that decision when you just say, first thing on Monday morning, everybody resume back to the office. Okay? Strategic people leaders also balance business performance with human impact. Yes, you must balance it. Because many times, not all human impact translates into business performance, but still balance it. Appreciate effort as well. Okay? Lastly, act as change sponsors, not observers. You sponsor the change. You pioneer changes. You don't act as an observer. You don't get shocked by it. Okay? The strategic people leadership framework. Purpose and culture, capability and skills, performance and accountability, engagement and well-being. This is the strategic people leadership framework that has worked for me. All right? People will always be people. But you can influence people, you can influence employees by sharing values, trust, inclusion, ethical leadership. And doing such, you will be influencing your employees. Then capability and skills, learning, agility, reskilling, leadership development is essential. And One of the things I so much love and appreciate about my current employer where I work is that we have what we call training budgets for each employees for each year. So maybe you're in the finance team, you want to do your ICANN exam, there's a training budget, a certain amount that we use to support your learning. You're an HR person, you want to run your CIPM exam, there is a training budget to cater for your need for each financial year. Performance and accountability, there must be clear goals, feedback, and ownership mentality from your employees. Ownership mentality is very, very key. And lastly, engagement and well-being. All right, with that being said, let me quickly take this last part and we'll wrap up on this slide. Performance management reimagined. So modern performance leadership emphasizes these 4 things, because we can't talk about strategic leadership without talking about performance management. The performance of employees must be managed for us to achieve the desired outcome. So as a strategic leader, you want to focus, you want to emphasize, number 1, clarity of expectations, ongoing feedback and coaching, alignment with purpose and value, and outcomes over activity. Your emphasis must be on these 4 things. Clarity of expectations. Expectations must be smart, must be specific. Okay? You don't just tell sales team, we expect you this year to make billions of naira or millions of naira in sales. No, that's not being specific. Your expectation is not clear. Sales team, we expect you that in Q1, at the end of Q1, we should have made sales of at least 100 million naira. That is clarity. That is clarity of expectation. Okay? That way, you are becoming a strategic leader. See, let me tell you the truth. You can't be strategic without numbers. As a leader, you can't be strategic without numbers. Being the chairman for CIBM Lab Chapter, I can tell you for free, myself and my executives, when we meet, when we discuss, it is all about numbers. I am number driven. At the end of the year, at the end of the day, what have we achieved? Oh, we have done this. How many? We have not just done X, Y, Z. How many have we done? Okay? We have not just have, more, what we have not just have, we have 100 new more employees, fine and good. How many have left within what period? That is attrition. So you can't be strategic without numbers. You can't be strategic without numbers. Also, engagement and well-being are strategic priorities. You see, as a strategic leader, you want to also prioritize well-being and engagement. If you're a leader and your members, your team, your employees are not engaging, it's a problem. You just come to meeting and you're the only one who is talking, and when you are done talking, everybody just says, we are good to go. I'm with you. You must value their well-being. If, for instance, we need to meet up with certain projects too, all right? And today is the deadline, and everybody, let's say, for instance, 10 p.m. Let's assume it's 10 p.m. Strategic leadership will ensure that employees who are not mobile will ensure that it puts a culture team members got. That is strategic leadership. By doing that, you are prioritizing their well-being. It's not just committed the project to the client. It's 10 p.m. It's at what cost? your team members? Has anybody broken down? I'm telling you, you will be environments in this Lagos. Certain employees have gotten home late at night from work and did not wake up in the morning. I belong to several HR groups, and it amazes me what we discuss and what we see in some organizations. It amazes me. Either prioritize your team well-being, support their mental health, their logical or psychologically safe environment. No. Interns are being verbally abused. Safe to speak. All right? And lead with empathy and fairness. Lead with empathy. Lead with empathy. It's not every time query. It's not every time, no. Lead with empathy. We are talking about strategic leadership now, right? In a few months, for those of us who live in Lagos, we are going to be experiencing heavy rain. And that's when we will know strategic period. A lot of employees will be getting to the office late. We would know those who lead with empathy and fairness by then. We would know, right? Not the ones that you get to the office maybe just 1 minute late or 10 minutes late, and next thing is that, you are getting query from HR. No, lead with empathy. Lead with empathy. It is important that we lead with empathy and fairness. Lastly, how do we measure the impact of strategic people leadership? We are bringing it to bear in our work, in our projects, in our deliverables at the office. How do we measure this at the end of the day? The first indices for strategic people leadership is engagement and retention. Engagement, employee engagement. The moment the employees, the workforce, your team members are not engaging, it's possible that you are alone. It is very, very possible that you are alone. You're not a leader. You are just a boss. So always take note of feedback. Always take note of engagement. And we can't talk about retention without engagement. It is engagement that makes people to get retained, essentially. Number two, measuring the impact of strategic people leadership is leadership effectiveness. The feedback, in many organizations, evaluation is done 360 degrees, right? So line managers, supervisors appraise their team members and subordinates. But sometimes we don't give room for subordinate team members to also evaluate the leadership. All right, rate them. How is this person in communication, in respect, in empathy, in this, in that, in emotional intelligence? Let, employees, team members also rate the leader. Let us evaluate the leader's effectiveness. That will give us an insight into the impact of the strategic leadership being provided or being supplied by that leader. Number three is productivity and innovation outcomes. Productivity and innovation outcomes. What are the outcomes at the end of the day? And lastly, culture and value alignment. Culture and value alignment. Every leader reproduces himself or herself in the workplace. Every leader is expected to reproduce himself or herself. So when you members, your employees aligning to the culture and the values of your organization, it is a proof that you've been a strategic leader. In other words, if you are always compliant in dressing, let's assume that, we dress smart, dress neat, dress corporate. And as a leader, you you demonstrate these values, in no time, your team members will begin to emulate you. You know, lastly, as a wrap up, there was a video I saw on IG that I think it was the MD's birthday, right? And every employee, they wanted to give him a surprise. So all the employees dressed like the MD. The man was so shocked when he got to the office. Everybody was like, he saw this first person wearing, I think it was corporate and bow tie or something. I can't recall now. And everybody was wearing the same thing. We're like, what is going on? Are you guys impersonating me? He was amazed. He was just laughing and laughing and laughing. And you know, it shows that you've been demonstrating something unique as a leader. So you look at the culture and value alignment. If there is alignment in values and culture, it is a testament that the leader is doing something right. All right? Is doing something right. Somebody saying Gen Z will love this one. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So at this juncture, I will stop and pause and I'll hand over to Juliet. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Oluwapelumi. Please, can we give him a clapping ovation in the chat box? Please, everybody. I know you can hear me. Thank you so much, sir. I've learned a lot. Wow, thank you so much. And I love the examples that you gave. They were very relatable. Personally, you know, I'm a Gen Z, so even though we collected stray bullets, which I don't think so, that this ideology that a lot of people have about Gen Z is not all of us. So please, it's not all of us. Some of us, we are well cultured and well mannered. But thank you for this session. So before we take questions from the audience, there were some questions that I noted down that I would love to ask you. But before that, let me just quickly just point out some of the things that stood out for me while you were speaking. You talked about traditional management and strategic management, and there was a conversation that was actually going on while you were speaking, which was Antonia was asking that what form of management is best. And I think one of the thoughts that came to mind was, depending on how a company transitions or grows, right? A company can start off with a traditional form of management, but with their growth, then comes strategic management. But then I would still love to hear your thoughts on that. Which do you prefer if you were trying to recommend to maybe a startup or a growing company? Which would you prefer? Which form of management would you prefer that the company adopt?
Your line is breaking. I can.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think it's better now.
Oh, okay. Let me start all over. So I was saying that while you were speaking,
please, can you take the question again?
Okay. So I was saying that while you were speaking, there were conversations in the chat where Antonia was asking that which form of management is best, if you were to recommend. And I think one of the things, what I actually said, was maybe when a company is just starting out, they can try out traditional management, right? And maybe with time they can decide to strategic management. But then I would love to hear your thoughts on that as well. But before we take questions, I just wanted to give a summary of what I took out from your session. I hope that's fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yes,
go ahead.
Your line was still breaking. So if I get your question, you are saying, which will I recommend to a startup? Traditional management or strategic management?
Yes.
So is that what you're saying?
Yes, but she's actually also raising her hand. Before we take questions at all, right? I just wanted to
sincerely,
give a summary.
I'm struggling to hear you completely. Yeah. I'm struggling to hear you completely.
Can you hear me now?
Chiamaka,
now?
Can you hear very well? Okay, I think it's a bit better now.
We can hear her. Maybe you need to join with another device, Mr. John. We can hear her clearly.
Oh, Okay, then I guess it's from my end, but I can hear you clearly as well. I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
All right, please go
So
ahead.
let me just share my takeouts before we take questions. I just wanted to share my takeout from the session. When you were talking about strategic management, I think one of the things that stood out for me is basically a company understanding when to upscale, or let me say when to transition, because there are some things that are applicable to when a company just started, but with time, when we look at what is happening around us, you talked about COVID, how people had to start adopting to working remotely, which is something that a lot of people are even still trying to adjust to till today. Not a lot of people understand how the internet work or how to work with the internet. So people have to start relearning that part in order to be incorporated back into the corporate world, right? So I think it's very important, just like you have stated, that a company adopts strategic management, because you want to be sure that the people that are working with you, they are working towards the vision, the corporate vision, and like you said, it's something that you always have to restate to your team members so that everybody understand what exactly they are doing. Another thing you mentioned that also stood out for me is when you talked about when the sales, maybe for instance, maybe a sales department is, of course, they are pegged with the responsibility of ensuring that the company makes profits. But beyond just the sales department, other departments are also encouraged to be part of the growth of the company. So you will not say because I'm an admin, sales does not concern me. At the end of the day, you get paid, and if there is no sales, there is no revenue, right? So whatever, everybody in the company basically has to work together to ensure that they work towards the growth of the company. So it's not just a particular department pegged with the responsibility of ensuring there's financial growth, but everybody working towards a specific goal in order for the company to grow itself. Then I think the last thing that you said is paying attention to your employees, making sure that you have them in mind in whatever decisions that you're making, right? So yeah, I think that those were things that stood out to me. So thank you very much for your session. I have some questions I would like to ask you, but before then, I would like to know if there is any of the attendees that has any question. Please, if you have a question, you can raise up your hand, or maybe you can put it in the chat box if you are in a noisy environment. Okay, Antonia.
Yeah, hi Juliet. I think you didn't convey my question in the right order. So what I
Oh, okay, that's
asked
fine.
was, can't you use both management style? That is traditional management and strategic management. That was the question I have. For instance, because from all the conversations that we've had so far, can you hear me?
Sorry, someone's mic is
Yes,
unmuted
I
and is
can hear you.
distracting.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so from the conversation so far, if I'm to put it in a word, traditional management gives consistency, while strategic, gives proactiveness. That is, yeah. So I feel when you're looking for growth and you're looking for stability at the same time, sometimes for some organizations, they use both approach. I'm just saying that maybe for balance sake or something, can't you just use both? I'm not saying strategic is not where the world is going on now. Yeah, for trend, predictive analysis and the rest, you have to be innovative on how you go about them. But at the same time, you still want a semblance of stability and consistency. So that's where I'm coming from.
Definitely, I totally agree with your viewpoint, Antonia. So yes, there are still certain components of traditional management embedded in strategic leadership or strategic management. Okay, the most important thing is that agility, the flexibility to adapt to current situation, current trends, and make the necessary moves required. Because a traditional management style, for instance, is all about hierarchy. Okay, for instance, there's something that needs urgent attention of management or the MD. All right,
but because of the hierarchy and procedural lead down for people to pass through before you get to management, you may not. But for some startups, for some business, for some tech companies, right, an associate and analyst can have access to the MD and say, oh, I have this input. I think that if we're able to implement this particular feature, it will, improve on our user experience, it will improve on our application, and it will also affect how people use our platform. And we will say, okay, let's do it. All right. So strategic people leadership still have in it some elements of traditional management, which is not bad. Okay. We pick the good things, the good features, but again, we also know when to be proactive. And I think the right word is just agility, that flexibility to adapt and to make changes when there are need for changes. All right. Have I been able to answer your question, Antonio?
Yes, I think.
Yeah. You've been able to.
Okay. Thank you for that. We have Professor Humphrey on the call and he's raising up his hand. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. John. Very interesting session. And I like the fact that you talked about the Gen Zs a lot, because we are growing old and they're going to take over very soon. And we have to groom them to, be strong enough to take over. But I have a question, and I'm going to put it this way. So there is a lot we do as managers and probably employers to create an interesting and more productive environment for this set of this generation, and even those that are coming after them. I'm someone that have worked with Gen Zs mostly, all my life, and I have a lot of experience with them. Now, there is a concern working with Gen Zs and implementing remote work. I have lived in Europe, and I know that, for instance, most of the countries in Europe, they have good road networks, they have electricity, sometimes they have internet, community internet. So, you don't even need to subscribe for a certain, how would I put it, volume of data. So they give you a certain volume of data in a day. When you exhaust it, you can now pay to buy more. So some districts are like that. Why some don't have? It depends on, what the local government or the district or, the in Italian, they call it comune, what they do. In Nigeria, we don't have such infrastructures. And you now have a Gen Z that just finished from the university, and probably she's living with, or he is living with his parents in a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and they are struggling with electricity. And of course, they live in a cluster of other tenants where there's a lot of noise, generators and all of that. And then you have given the Gen Z laptop, phone, everything to work with. And then you want the Gen Z to be productive, working remotely with all these things. And at the end of the day, of course, due to the circumstance, infrastructural, deficiency in the community, in the environment, he is not being very productive. And of course, there is this desire by the Gen Z to work remote or remotely. So what do you advise business owners, managers, or employers to do in this case to work productively with these Gen Zs? What's your advice?
Well, thank you so much, Prof. You know, when a professor is asking question, you know the kind of question to expect. And Prof, you are not old, though. I refuse to accept that, sir. I refuse to accept that. Yes, you are not as young as us, as or some of us, but you are still not old. So, talking about uh, remote work and structures and systems to be put in place, the truth is, first of all, before even before an organization even considers remote work as an option or hybrid work as an option, there must be a remote work policy, right? And this policy must spell out the expectations of the employer from all parties. In fact, the policy should even state those who are eligible and those who are not eligible. Because whether we agree or not, there are some positions in the workplace that cannot work remotely. They have to be at the office, right? Some people have to be at the office. So the policy should state who and who are eligible. What are the expectations in terms of performance? What are the sanctions if you don't meet up with our expectations? Because truth be told, some people really, really abuse remote work. Some people do. Some ladies will be working remotely and they are fixing their nails, doing their pedicures, and some guys too. Instead of joining a meeting, maybe our favorite club is playing a football match. I would say, you know what, I would just watch the football and leave the meeting. Some people have abused it. But a policy for remote work is very, very essential. It will state the expectations, it will state the limits, it will even state the expectations for each staff to meet up with the requirements. Again, let me also add that some employers now, when they give laptops and gadgets to employees to work remotely, they install certain software that enables them to track the productivity and performance of each staff per day. I have seen it. Yes, there are technologies that are now being, installed on laptops to monitor those who are really working, to monitor how many hours you've worked per day, and things like that. So the right measures must be put in place. Also, HR should also try to get insight about everyone before even beginning this remote work. How accessible are you to data? Do you have alternative source of power supply? Do you have a power bank for laptop? Do you have a power bank for phone? For instance, earlier this afternoon, I was using my power bank to charge my phone. I have a power for my laptop rather. I have a power bank for laptop. Why? I can't afford not to have a power supply backup. So all of these things are important. Now, it is now based on this policy and internal research by the management team or the HR. Upon the findings, then we can now say, let us initiate remote work. And it must be properly managed. Properly managed. The pros and cons must be discussed with each managers or line managers or supervisors to discuss further with their team members. And there must be measures put in place such that for days you work remotely, there must be certain team meetings, there must be stand-up meetings, there must be project review meetings and things like that to keep everyone engaged such that nobody just goes home, work from home and sleeps off or just watching movies. So yes, there is need for policy, there is need for structure, there is need for employees to also give the employers a level of assurance that I have a power supply that is stable, or I have a backup, whether solar, whether a generator, whether a power bank. It is now on the premise of this that it can now be initiated. But Gen Zs, sometimes they really abuse things, and when you try to correct certain things, they don't take it easy, right? But the truth again remains that not everyone, not all employees, by virtue of their responsibilities, are eligible for remote work. Thank you.
Wow,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So I have a couple of questions that I want to ask. Please, if you have any other question, you can drop it in the chat box. Also, there is an attendance list, or let me say an attendance link in the chat box. Please do well to fill it in case you have not. It's been sent like a couple of minutes ago, and it has been resent as well. So please make sure you fill out your details so we know how many persons attended the class, and also we want to know how this session was for you. We would love your feedback, right? So my first question for you, sir, I know you talked about companies having their goals because it is their goals and their vision for the company, because it is on that premise that everybody gets to work together. So the first question is, in a situation where a company doesn't necessarily apply these goals, right? You pointed out one of them, which was how to speak to your colleague, right, at work. So maybe you work in a company where some of these goals are not necessarily applied, like it's in the workbook or whatever they gave you at the beginning, at when you were employed or when you were hired. But you notice that with time, these company goals were not applied. What should an employer do in situations like that? Yes, that's the first one. And will it be wrong if the employer decides to leave? I know that there has been different observation and also contribution from HR professionals that I've heard in the past. And I think you also pointed it out while you were speaking, where people do not necessarily, not everybody have the tenacity to work at a place, right? People are always, especially Gen Zs in quote, they're always quick to say, oh, my mental health this, my mental health that, and they resign. But then also there are some, what do you do if it is an extreme case where you know genuinely that where you're working is not helping your productivity? I believe that employees also go into their work with career goals, right? People don't just work for working sake. Like, people have goals in mind that they want to achieve regarding their career. So if maybe where you're working is not necessarily giving you the opportunity to achieve or actualize those goals, will it be wrong if the person leaves, or how do you think they can navigate that entire process?
Oh, the question is very loaded. Very loaded. So you asked a question, just to paraphrase. You're saying when an organization is no longer in alignment with an employee's goals, can such an employee leave or exit the system? Is that your question?
Yes, with their own goals. The first one is if they're not in alignment with their own goals, like they're not doing what they said should be applied in the company. Then the second one is
okay.
if the employee is not achieving his or her own goals in regards to their career.
Okay. All right. So what I would say regarding this is there is always need for alignment. Okay. There is need for alignment between employees and employers. Some employers, permit me to say, have recruited certain talents and brought them on board and are now using them for things entirely different from the sole reason why they were recruited in the first place. I mean, some people were recruited for maybe, for instance, an administrative officer role, and they come on board and they are not being used or asked to perform functions of business developers. And they struggle on the job because, hey, I'm not a business developer, I'm an admin officer, right? I don't know how to cope. I don't know how to sell. I don't know how to sell. I don't do sales. I'm an admin person. So there must be an alignment. Yes, sometimes there are job expansions, job enrichment on the job, such that you are asked to perform an additional responsibility, maybe for a few period of time or for a few months, pending when they get someone to occupy that position fully. But hey, there must be an alignment between what the employee was recruited for and what the employee is now actually doing on the job. Your goal must be clear, right? I was speaking to one of my colleagues in CIPM, a senior colleague for that matter, and she was telling me that she wants to she's leaving a company very soon. That the company is not doing what they say they do. They're using the business to do another thing entirely, which she's uncomfortable with because it's a lot of risk for her career. I can't go into the details of that. And she said, my chair, I have to leave. Right? So it means that there is no alignment between what the organization actually states as its goals and what they are now actually pursuing in reality. So there must always be that alignment. There must be that alignment. Then for employees, when you see that there is no longer alignment between your role and what you are expected to achieve or what you are asked to do, then you need to begin to do some reevaluation, right? Your role, for instance, I mean, maybe you're a salesperson and you know that it is practically impossible to meet that target. They are giving you a yearly target in a month, and you know it's practically impossible for you to do. You need to begin to reevaluate. Can you survive the challenge, or should you move on to the next new challenge? You will need to reevaluate yourself and make a decision. Yes. Can you please help me rephrase the question on the Gen Z part, please? What was that question again on the Gen Z?
Okay, I think I
Everybody is
was
all
just
about
trying
Gen Z.
I was just making a reference. It was not necessarily a Gen Z question. I was just making a reference to the question you already answered.
That's fine.
But I have like 3 more, 2 from my side and from someone in the chat. So the second, I'm going to merge my 2 questions into one. So employee have to make strategic decision regarding career growth from an HR lens. Like how do you think employees these days should apply, or what's the approach you would say an employee should take in order to make strategic move in their career? You now speaking to us as an HR professional.
Okay. Strategic moves for professionals to make to advance their career. Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Then the second one is at what point do an employee call it a quit with an employer who doesn't take into cognizance the well-being of their clients? Their employees. So maybe you work in a place where you made mention of situations where there are people who in this Lagos they work at an office and maybe they got home and they didn't wake up again, something like that. And sometimes if you trace it back, it could be like as a result of them not paying attention to things that have been happening to their health. Like they're not paying attention to their health because they've been so engrossed with the work that they are doing. So we've seen instances like that. So if you work in a place where the organization does not necessarily care a lot about the health of their staff, how do people navigate that process? Also considering the fact that it's not easy to get jobs out there. So but like you love this job, but then like the company does not necessarily care a lot about their employees. So how do you navigate working at that place, or do you decide to call it a quit? And even if you're going to quit, should there be like are you supposed to have like a backup plan as to how to exit and things like that?
All right. Thank you for your question. All right. So talking about leaving employers or workplaces where your health is not being prioritized is very, very important, right? The health we're talking about is not just physical health, it goes even into psychological well being, it goes into emotional well being, all right? So it's all round well being. And there will be signs when an employer values you as an employee and prioritizes your well being, there will be signs. For example, it is an obvious sign that an employer doesn't value you or value your well-being if, for instance, there is no HMO in place for you as an employee, not even for your dependents now, for you as an employee, all right? There is no HMO in place, there is no pension in place, there is no favorable and conducive working environment. It's obvious that you are not, or your well-being is not prioritized. All right. I mean, first day of resumption, you are given a laptop, and the laptop is transmitting electric currents. It's shocking you, right? And they say, oh, that's how the person that used it before used to use it, you will not die. It will only shock you small. Come on. It shows how much of a value you are to the organization. So look out for those signs. And that's why even before you take up new jobs, new employment, you do your background search. Search on LinkedIn, on Glassdoor, on X. What are people saying about the organization? Yes, you don't make your decision solely on what people are saying, because people change, people improve. But also look at what they are saying and ask questions in that line. Ask questions in that line. Observe them. What are people saying about them? All right. Very, very important. But if you're already in the system and you see that valued or prioritized, all right, you need to begin to make certain reevaluation. Again, do you want to remain or you want to exit? I wouldn't advise people, I don't usually advise people to just leave um, their employers. I don't. Because many times we've seen people who left certain places hurriedly, and it's a situation of jumping from fry pan to fire. Yes, yes. So take your time and have a plan in place. You want to leave an employer suddenly, and you don't even have a saving, you don't even have some cash, some funds that can take care of you for even a month. That's not a plan. That is not a plan. You are setting yourself up for disaster. Okay, so have a plan. If your decision is to exit, have a plan. All right. If your decision is to say, hey, I will endure it for the next few weeks or few months, pending my active applications to other places, that's a much, much better approach. All right. A much, much better approach. But as employers as well, I will also encourage us, let us do better, right? Put certain things in place. HMO, very important. These are basic things that, in an ideal world, employees should have access to. So that's what I would say regarding that. Then there's one other question I can't recall now, but I don't think I've touched it. Maybe you
Yeah,
can
I was asking,
summarize it for me.
yes, like what should employees look out for? Like what strategic decisions do they have to make when they are applying to a company from an HR perspective?
Your moves must be strategic. And that's why I would recommend. You see, there is one investment that never fails, and that is the investment in self. And for those of us who are on the call, trust me, if you are not yet a member or student of the Genty Global Business School, yeah, you are not making the right investments. Invest in yourself. Some professionals have graduated for the past 5, 6, 10 years, and they've never invested in themselves since then. No additional certification, no training, no upskilling, no additional knowledge. You don't know how to use trending equipment, tools, and technologies. you are putting yourself at a disadvantage. So your strategic move is to make investments in yourself. Get your MBA. Reach out to the Dojensi Global Business School. All right? Get an MBA, get an MSc, get an additional degree. Diversify. Right? Diversify. Who told you that you must necessarily become a data analyst just because you're skilled in data analysis? Even HR, we have HR analytics, which is just the adoption of data analysis into HR operations. Get it, get those skills, right? Improving yourself. Those are strategic moves. Attend webinars, conferences, seminars, right? Exchange cards, network with other professionals, belong to relevant professional associations and bodies. Because with these, you will be able to secure some opportunities faster. Faster. In fact, you will even get some opportunities as fast as you can ever imagine. You get recommendations, you get referrals. Okay? So these are strategic moves, investing in yourself. And you see, I think another thing I need to add is that you must be up to date. Some people are scared that AI will come and take their jobs, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you allow AI to take your job, that's on you. Okay? But if you're up to date, you will know that AI is here to stay, number one, and AI is here to aid your work, not to take over your job. Get conversant with artificial intelligence. Get conversant with them. Learn the ones that are relevant to your job and will help you perform your job effectively. Be current. Be current. And again, lastly, as an HR professional, I would also advise you diversify. Diversify. You are a professional, you're an HR, for instance, and the only area of specialization for you is recruitment. It is good, but it is not enough. Diversify. Diversify, get knowledge on compensation and benefits, on other things, performance management, training and development, and things like that. You are a finance person, still diversify. Diversify into taxation, into financial reporting and things like this. Diversify, because you may never know the demands of your next job. They may like you, like your CV, but there's one more thing that they are looking out for. And when you don't have it, you put them in a position that is not easy for them to get you on board. So invest in yourself, diversify your experience, your specialty, and also network aggressively. Be active on social media. Be active on LinkedIn. Belong to professional communities. And with that, I can guarantee you that you are on the right path. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a full-blown masterclass. I think I have one more question from the audience, which is from Gideon. He said, can strategic people leadership thrive where technology is underdeveloped?
Can strategic
Did you get my
leadership
question, sir?
thrive where
Yes,
technology is
technology is underdeveloped. I think he's asking in respect to the company. Maybe the company doesn't use enough
I get the question.
technology for you.
I get the question. Well, it's strategic leadership, right, will still exist in such a company. But if we're talking about thriving, we would need technology. It's technology that makes the world to go round in this time and age. It is with technology that organizations transact heavy volumes of transactions in billions. It's technology enabled. Technology enabled. All right. You see certain companies, they post online, they post their quarterly profit and earnings and financial report and all of that. most of their results are heavily dependent on technology, right? So yes, it will exist. Strategic leadership will exist, but if not backed up with the presence of adequate technological support, it will not thrive. I, in my own estimation, do not think it will thrive. It will exist, but it will not be at that thriving level of which we are talking about now. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you. Gideon, I hope you got that. We have one person who is raising up his hand. His name is Emmanuel. He has a question. Please, Emmanuel, can you unmute and speak?
Good evening, Mr. John. My name is Emmanuel. I'm a DBS student and a faculty member of the Dutch entity. I'm speaking here as an employer because I run businesses that employ people. I can tell you what you said here. I completely agree with you with the Gen Zs about if they have to pivot. Many of them, when they study marketing in the school, in the university, there are certain skills that is needed for them to be able to, operate in the marketplace. But you find out that some of these Gen Zs, they read this course, but naturally, they are not the right marketing people. So you find out that most of them are avoiding going out to meet customers and other stuff. So when you say that, okay, yes, by study is marketing, but they don't have that passion. As an employer, what you need to do is to help them to pivot, find out the right skills that are in them, or find out where where their interest lies, even though they studied marketing. You can find out that tomorrow they can be the best IT professionals. So our job as employers is just to identify the suitability of employees when you put them there. Because most times, okay, somebody studied hotel management, tomorrow he becomes an IT specialist. So, and it is not like a hard fact rule that you must make them work because, or ask them to do what they read in the school. Look at what the banks are doing. Some people read geography, some people read different courses, but today most of them are good marketing people, bringing in a lot of funds into the banks. So my own suggestion is that I believe what you said is correct, but again, we should not really, when they are not doing it, we can't allow them to be there. You will help them to pivot. I have a lot of Gen Zs in my house, but I know also that most people, they study because they want that. But halfway into that business, they have lost interest. So you have to find them to help them to find their route so that from there they can uphold a lot of skills. Like you said, people should do a lot of things that can put them put them forward in the marketplace. So Gen Zs, if they are allowed to be where they said they want to be without finding passion where their passion lies, it's going to kill a lot of time for them before they finally leave that session. That's what I wanted to contribute to you, Mr. John. Thank you very much. You've been wonderful with this facilitation, though I met it 60%. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you for your submission. Thank you for the summary, the extensive summary you gave, and I really appreciate the feedback too. Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Juliet,
Right.
I believe there's no other question.
Yes, sir. That's all the question that we have. Or does anybody have any other question so we can let Mr. Oluwapelumi go? Anybody? Okay, while we are waiting, we have Mr. Matthias from Docenti Global Business School. He's going to be speaking to us regarding the different programs that we have. We heard when Mr. Akpalumi made mention of the fact that you need to stay up to date. And how do you stay up to date? Some of us, we graduated years ago, 2018, 2019, even way before then, and probably we've never even considered taking any professional training since then, but we want to stay in the job market. But we also forget the fact that things are changing, and for us to stay relevant in this time and age, we need to be able to be equipped with the knowledge and exposure that is needed for us to be all of that. So we have Mr. Matthias from Docenti Global Business School. He's going to be speaking to us about the academy and how you can take advantage of our trainings. Over to you, sir.
All right, thank you, Juliet. On behalf of the admissions team, I would like to thank our able presenter, the facilitator of today's class, in the person of Mr. John. Thank you for taking us through strategic leadership and management. And thank you for shedding light on different practices, these different actionable steps we can take to improve the work climate of our different organizations. I really learned a lot, and my fellow guests on this call would attest to the fact that what you have learned today has been very eye-opening. Thank you for this. Thank you. And then I will also appreciate the moderator in the person of Juliet for taking time to coordinate these activities and representing the Gen Z category, the questions and everything. Thank you, Juliet. I would like to also thank everyone, our students and the prospects on the call. I have an exciting news for you. And the news is that if you are looking at joining any of our programs, what we had today is a conversation around the MBA in Strategic Human Resources Management. And February is a month of human resources. Today, we engage with the local front. On Saturday, we are going to put a global complexion to the conversations in human resources. We have a professor from the School of Human Resources Development in Thailand who would be speaking to us on Saturday by 2 p.m. And the topic would be on the happy workplace, how to engage and channel our daily tasks to something meaningful. So I invite every one of us to be available Saturday. It is an opportunity to understand and deepen the knowledge we have already gathered today in terms of how we can be champions of the happy workplace, happy climate in our different organizations. So having mentioned that, if you are interested in joining the MBA program, MSc, DBA, the school has extended the scholarship down to 15th February. So you have a window as we speak to complete your registration process. 15th, we have closed this last month, but the school has extended for you. So I would recommend that you take advantage of this opportunity, complete your admission process so that you can be part of the revolution in terms of knowledge happening in Docenti Global Business School. And having said that, I would encourage all of us to keep on with the Business Leadership Excellence Program. It is an integral part of your learning journey in Docenti Global Business School. By next month, we are having a virtual certification ceremony for this activity, and that is why it is important to fill the attendance survey. Ensure you fill it. The certificate will be issued to those who joined these activities, including the intelligent language class. Okay, like the speaker rightly mentioned, you have to invest in yourself, stay updated, diversify, and network aggressively. And we have provided you with that platform in the different programs. So on or before 15th, we invite you to be a part of this community. Thank you once again and have a great evening. I hand over to the moderator. Over to you. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you you very much, sir. I'm sure that by now we've all filled the attendance form. Please, if you haven't, do that, so we will be able to like follow your band, also reach out to you, get your thoughts about today's session, and also how to adjust to anything, any observation that you might have moving forward for the subsequent ones. We have another one coming up on Saturday, like you mentioned, and also please take advantage of the trainings and the programs that we have, right? Because it's all for our benefits and for our career growth, right? So thank you once again, everyone, for joining. Before I close off this session, please, I don't know if Chamaka has any update for us or anything.
All right. Thank you so much, Juliet. Thank you so much for the wonderful moderation. And thank you everyone for joining us and for staying with us. And of course, I'll just briefly say that we should try as much as possible to connect with Mr. Oluwapelumi on LinkedIn. Mr. Pelumi is on LinkedIn as Oluwapelumi Akinola. So please do well to connect with him. If you have more questions, you can actually ask him, and I'm very much sure that he's open to taking up your questions and answering them on LinkedIn. Also, our moderator as well, she's very active on LinkedIn, and she's there as Juliet Ike. You can search for her as Juliet Ike and do well to connect with her, and I'm sure they would connect back with you as well. Also, you can connect with each other. You can drop your URL, connect with each other, network with each other as well on the comment section or even after this call. And of course, if you know that you have not filled the attendance survey, please try as much as possible to fill out the form. And I believe Mr. Kwelumi will be sharing the slides of the session and will be sending it across to you, of course, with the recording as well. So do well to fill out the session, the survey. And of course, we'll see on the next one on Saturday. Please ensure you also join. Having said that, on behalf of the Executive Principal, Professor Humphrey Akanazu, would like to thank you all for joining us and also see you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, this place is hot.
Bye.
Bye.